And how many people have died in Gaza in the last 2 months?
How many bomb shelters are there? How many bomb shelters are there? How many bomb shelters are there in Gaza?
Mate, there aren't any houses.
Before we jump into this one, tell me where you're tuning in from. And remember to like and subscribe. Your support genuinely helps the channel grow and keeps these deep dive stories coming. All right, in this video, you're about to witness something that happens far too often in our current political climate. A caller rings into James's show armed with what he believes is an explosive, game-changing revelation. He doesn't bring nuance, he doesn't bring evidence, he brings a conspiracy theory stated as fact. And on live radio, that confidence lasts right up until the moment James asks him the simplest, most devastating question imaginable: what's your source? And that's where everything begins to unravel. Because this wasn't just any claim, it was a stunning accusation against the United Nations, delivered with absolute certainty. The caller thought he was stepping into the conversation with the upper hand, but instead, he walked straight into a wall of basic accountability. The moment James calmly pressed him, not with emotion, not with rhetoric, but with a single repeated question, the entire argument collapsed in real time. And what follows is a perfect example of the difference between belief and fact, between hearsay and evidence, and between a confident voice and a credible one. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Now, let's watch this moment together. And afterwards, I'll break down exactly why callers like this fall apart the second real scrutiny is applied.
Stanmore, Neil, what would you like to say?
Morning, James. How many rockets have been fired into Israel from Gaza?
I don't know.
Okay, that's 11,500.
How many civilians have died?
They haven't died because over the last 16 years, while Hamas have been firing rockets into Israel and carrying out suicide bombings and attacks on civilians.
Listen, it's a simple call. I'm just looking for a number.
They've developed...
I'm just looking for the number, Neil.
Very few is the answer, because
I think is it not none?
Systems. No, there have been. Of course, there have been injuries. Of course, there have been deaths.
By missile? I know there was a suicide attack at a bus stop, but single figures?
It probably is single figures.
And how many people have died in Gaza in the last 2 months?
How many bomb shelters are there? How many bomb shelters are there? How many bomb shelters are there in Gaza?
Mate, there aren't any houses.
They've built thousands.
There aren't any houses in Gaza. How can you have a bomb shelter if you haven't got a house to put it under?
Because they have hundreds of miles of tunnels that have been dug by Hamas.
What is the reason for your call? Because what we've established so far is that there are between 10 and 20,000 deaths on one side and single figures deaths on the other. So where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? So where we go?
You rang me, remember?
Yes, I did. Israel is, well, firstly, they are trying to wipe out the tunnel networks that Hamas have built with the assistance of the United Nations, who've allowed them to divert funds and building materials. Okay, to build.
And your source for that?
They are there. That's what the Israelis.
No, your source for the allegation against the United Nations.
No, everyone knows that there are tunnels.
Oh, come on, mate.
Gaza.
Your source for the United Nations collusion in that.
Well, my opinion.
No, your source.
My source.
Yes. I have to challenge you because the caller here said that if Al Jazeera is a source, I have to challenge people. So I can't accept Neil in Stanmore as a source on something, can I?
Okay, I have various websites, not websites, I have news information sites that are showing me that the entrances to tunnels...
No, specifically the United Nations collusion. Where can I look for that?
Where can you look for that? That's going to be a bit difficult for me to...
Well, then don't say it on the radio, Neil, please.
It's my opinion.
No, you have to say it's your opinion. You stated it as a fact. It's your opinion based on absolutely no evidence whatsoever.
Okay, all right, so let's look at the United Nations.
Before we move on, can we just agree that you said that with no evidence or basis in truth for it at all?
It is stuff that I've seen, but I can't necessarily provide the...
So there is evidence, but it goes to a different school?
Yes.
Okay, mate, you crack on.
Okay, so we have the United Nations who had this vote. Okay, so first of all, we have a situation in Syria a few years ago.
No, you're doing it again. Let's just focus on... No, I won't hang on, Neil, because we've already established that you're a bad faith caller, so you're lucky that you're still on. Let's focus on exactly what happened on Friday. Let's not talk about what happened somewhere else several years ago.
But it's relevant.
No, it's not. I want to know what happened on Friday.
Vetoes, right, you said Britain abstained and America vetoed. Mm-hmm. Russia vetoed in Syria, where there were hundreds of thousands.
And the international uproar was enormous.
Was it?
Yes, it was. Sources: BBC, ITV, Sky, LBC. You crack on.
Well, I think that's limited. But the score is Gutierrez has only ever done this once. He hasn't done it in any other conflict that's taken place in trying to stop a war that's taking place.
Because he's never felt that the need for a ceasefire was so obvious and acute.
500,000 people in Syria wasn't
Yes, well, if we were to add up people being killed on both sides, like we did at the beginning of your call, the definition of war would apply because they were killing each other on an enormous scale. So again, that doesn't work. Okay, here's a question: why did Switzerland vote for a ceasefire?
Don't know.
The most famously neutral country in history.
I have no idea why they chose to vote.
Why did Japan?
Don't know. I'm not there. I'm not in those countries.
Why did Ecuador?
What they think. Ecuador, because they are particularly holed up with most of the groups that are very anti-Israel.
Source?
Again, I would. I have my reasons and beliefs and what I've seen.
So. I mean, everyone does at Christmas. What are your sources?
As I say, I have access to news sites that...
No, the source for Ecuador being holed up with various groups. Not the source for the United Nations colluding with Hamas building tunnels in the Gaza Strip, because we've established you didn't have any. What's the source for the claim about Ecuador?
Again, just what I've seen from United Nations voting systems over...
But you told me they've never had a vote like this before. You said that 45 seconds ago.
There are votes the whole time.
So what was the Ecuador vote that you're drawing on now?
Specifically on now?
Yes.
No, I'm just saying that in general, in the past...
give me one example then.
They voted against Israel. I can't pluck off the top of my head...
Well, then you can't say it out loud, can you?
But, well, there are facts. You can look on the United Nations website.
I'm asking you to tell me the facts that you're referring to.
Well,
and how is calling for a ceasefire and an immediate return of all the Israeli hostages a vote against Israel?
How is it a vote against Israel? Because it's not allowing them to finish what they need to do, which is to demolish the tunnels that exist and the infrastructure of Hamas, who, for the last 16 years...
Yeah, so we're back there. Do you want to speculate on why Switzerland voted for the ceasefire? Because you have enormous levels of certainty built on absolutely nothing. So it's a bit odd when you say you don't know something. Do your sources not have anything on this? The news sites that you can't remember, or the Ecuadorian precedents that have slipped your mind, and none of them have any insights into why the most famously neutral country on the planet would vote for a humanitarian ceasefire?
Nope.
Nothing at all.
No, I can look it up.
And when you hang up in a minute, or when I bid you farewell because it's the news, the fact that every single thing you've said has absolutely fallen apart and crumbled won't have dented your certainty one iota, will it?
Nope.
About anything?
Nope.
And if I ask you how many people in Gaza have to die before it becomes too many, you will say...
I don't know, because it's...
You do know, Neil. You're Mr. I know it all, man. You must know. Come on.
I don't want any deaths.
Put a number on it.
There isn't.
How many is too many?
I can put on it. There isn't a number I can put on it.
Well, we can say that it is not there yet, can't we? Because is it too many already? Or should they carry on?
The answer is they need to carry on.
So it's not too many yet. So it's not too many yet. When will it be too many?
I don't know, but my hope is
that
at some point...
You do know. We both know what your answer to that question is. The only mystery is why you won't say it out loud.
My hope is the women of Hamas at some point turn around and say, we've had enough. Right, we've had 17 years...
You're not in control of that. You're in control of your opinions, Neil. You've just spent 10 minutes telling us all about your opinions and pretending that they were facts and evidence-based and knowledge-based. So you're allowed an opinion. In your opinion, we know that whatever the death toll is now is still too low for it to be too much. When does it become too high, in your opinion?
I have no idea what that number is.
You have no idea of your own opinion?
I have no idea of how many deaths there will be. I don't know that. You don't know that. Nobody knows that.
I can say there's been too many already. You can't. When will you?
I did say there's been too many already.
No, you didn't. You said they had to carry on.
I said...
No, you said everyone heard you. You said they had to carry on. So how many is too many?
I've said there's already been enough. Right, but I can't...
So you are in favour of a ceasefire then?
I'm not in favour of a ceasefire.
So there hasn't been enough. When will there be enough?
We need to stop the fighting. We need to stop the...
That's a ceasefire. Stopping the fighting is a ceasefire, Neil.
We need to stop the terrorist atrocities that have been happening for the last 17 years.
Yes. So how many deaths is too many in Gaza?
There isn't a number.
Well, everyone knows that there is, and you're just not prepared to say it out loud, Neil.
40 million, right? It doesn't mean anything.
No.
Right?
But if everybody there died, would that be too many?
That is not my belief of what is going to be happening.
So that means that somewhere between now, I'm going to ask this question. Somewhere between now and everybody dead, there would be a line for you that should not be crossed. Why is it so hard for you to tell us where that line is?
because they need to do what they need to do in terms of destroying Hamas. And
So
Hamas
there is no line then?
No.
So everyone?
No, it won't be everyone, but...
Well, fingers crossed, Neil.
Yeah, very much so.
It's 11:01.
What we just witnessed wasn't simply a caller getting something wrong. It was a masterclass in how misinformation collapses the moment it's asked to stand on its own legs. Neil phoned in with an explosive accusation, delivered with total certainty, claiming the United Nations had actively colluded with Hamas to build tunnel networks. That is not a minor statement. That is a geopolitical allegation with enormous implications. And yet, when James asked him the most basic question, "What's your source?" the entire foundation of Neil's certainty dissolved almost instantly. He didn't defend his claim. He didn't provide evidence. He didn't even attempt to cite a credible report. He simply shifted from declaring it as undeniable fact to admitting that proving it would be, in his own words, a bit difficult. This is the textbook pattern of modern misinformation. It thrives on confidence, not credibility. It spreads because it feels true, not because it's proven. And you hear it constantly when callers discuss the Hamas-Israel conflict, sweeping statements that sound authoritative until the simplest scrutiny is applied. Everyone knows is not evidence. I saw it somewhere online is not documentation. And when Neil tried to retreat into, well, that's just my opinion, James rightly pointed out the difference. An opinion about a film or a recipe is harmless. An opinion about the UN funding militant groups is not an opinion at all. It's a factual claim that demands proof. Without evidence, it becomes nothing more than a baseless smear, dressed up as certainty. But the call didn't just fall apart factually, it fell apart morally. Once the conspiracy was dismantled, James moved to a deeper question, one that exposes the ethical cost of this kind of thinking. He asked Neil plainly, how many deaths in Gaza are too many? And that was the moment everything became painfully clear. Neil couldn't answer. He argued the military operation must continue, yet he refused to name a point at which the loss of human life becomes unacceptable. That contradiction is not political, it's human. It reveals the danger of being swept up in extreme narratives. When someone has been pulled so far into a propagandized worldview, as many vocal supporters of the Israeli government's military approach in the UK have, they can lose sight of the most basic questions of morality. Because if you cannot name the point at which the deaths of civilians, children, families, ordinary people, becomes too much, then something has gone deeply wrong. This is the moral vacuum that misinformation creates. It strips away context. It blurs empathy. And eventually, it erodes the ability to say enough. So what do you think? What stood out most from this call? The collapse of the conspiracy or the collapse of the caller's basic humanity? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to like and subscribe for more. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching.